Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggerhouse. And in this video, we need to talk about how now is not the time to get cute. Risk on versus risk off. That is right. Risk on versus risk off. You guys have heard this statement before. Here we are in 2023. 2023 felt like it was just kind of a good video to make today. Just talks about sort of the year in front of us. You know, the year that we are about to have. Possibly a big recession. Possibly big global economic concerns. And in this year, we need to talk about how this is going to be a year where you're going to need to acquire books with good fundamentals. Fundamentals. Good books that are low risk overall. Books that the market will always desire. You know, only the blue chips. Only the books that have constant demand with low scarcity, smaller print runs, low supply. Risk on versus risk off. Now, I wanted to make this video because recently in the market, there's been a lot of drama. And maybe I'll do more videos talking specifically about some of those, things going on in the market, the more, the drama stuff. But really what I think about when I think about that kind of drama is how it sort of ladders back into kind of maybe the financial side, the risk on side of it. And I just feel like even now in 2023, I feel like there's still a lot of people in the comic book community that are looking to take on some of those big risky books. They're trying to find that next big thing in the market. Whether it is the Black Panther 1 in 25 with Tosin, whether it is the UF4 acetate book, Clayton Crane signed one, or whether it is the, Amazing Spider-man Eminem #1, which apparently right now, maybe it's not so risky because people are going to the moon with their book. But in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about that, kind of check in with some of those prices, and then kind of bring it back to this idea of what 2023 is going to look like. Because I think one of the things that is clear to see, and this ties back into some of the other videos that I've made, other, statements I made here on the channel, and that's the idea of the easy money has been made, right? This idea that you're going to be able to 3x or 10x or 20x overnight is going to be more and more difficult. Now, I do think that is why there are people out there that are making these sort of, bigger plays into books like Amazing Spider-man Eminem #1. Now, if you were able to get a few of those books off of the initial drop off of their website, your cost basis being whatever they were, like $30 into, the regular print book or whatever it was. And then now you're able to kind of flip it on eBay for $400. I mean, absolutely, you're definitely doing really well. You're doing really, really well. But the question is, are the people who are now buying that book off of eBay that are FOMOing into it, are they thinking that they're going to have the same plan? Are they thinking that they're going to be able to 10x their money when they get a raw copy and send it into CGC and get that 9.9? Because apparently getting a 9.9 at CGC is really easy now. I mean, any book gets it. Serious talk. We got to talk about that Amazing Spider-man Eminem 9.9, the Spotlight variant one. I mean, I feel like CGC is straight trolling at this point. They are straight trolling that book got a 9.9. How is it not the case that every single new book that comes out onto market doesn't at least get 9.9 or 10.0? I don't get it. I feel like CGC is straight trolling. They were like, oh, this book's hot. Wouldn't that be kind of funny if we gave one of these random books a 9.9 just to have one on the census? But generally speaking, it does feel like the market, – people are looking for what that next big thing is going to be. And I know you guys already know this. I know you guys are smart. Everyone who watches the channel, you guys are adults. You guys can make your own decisions. You guys are definitely smart. You guys know what you're doing. But let me just kind of re-emphasize what you guys already know. It's not so much about what book is going to go to the moon. If you're spending, this kind of big money, a lot of times what you have to think about is the downside risk to whatever book you are buying. That is ultimately the best way and most secure way to approach this sort of comic book investing, sort of collecting kind of side of the hobby. I mean, granted, if you got Bezos money, then do whatever you want. You like Eminem, you got Bezos money, then, whatever. Buy whatever the market price is. It doesn't really matter to you. But what I think I've come to find, and what I've been sort of surprised to hear from a lot of, anecdotes out there in the market is, coming off of 2022, you would think that the people who are like kind of buying those AF-15s, dropping, 50 grand on a 3.0 or whatever it is, that those are the type of people that have tons and tons of money, that are just able to kind of spend whatever they want. But it's actually not really the case. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who, are playing extremely risky games here, using, leverage, using credit to be able to make those purchases on some of those books because they truly believe that they can make that flip and go to the moon on it. There's a lot of stores right now that are definitely going out of business. A lot of kind of online stores, a lot of like dealers that really got into it, way over their head, and they are having to kind of pay the piper right now. And now in 2023, you have these big gamble plays with these variants, and you're trying to do these quick pops and put, Homer Simpson and Voltron on the cover, and you're trying to, make a bunch of sales and get that 10x return. And it's just not going to happen the same way. Or if it doesn't happen the same way, it's going to be such a risky bet, and it's going to cause a lot of, turmoil in the market. Hey, Swaggle, remember when you made that video that was talking about predictions for 2023 and your third one was negativity? Swaggle, yeah, I do remember that. I was definitely right about that one. Yeah, you were. It didn't take long. It actually only took a few days into 2023 for that prediction to come true. Yeah, I guess you can call me Nostradamus. Okay, you don't have to call me that. Obviously, it wasn't that hard of a prediction to have because you could just kind of see where everything is going. Again, when the market is going to be tough this year, you got to move to the risk off assets. You got to move to the risk off comic books. You got to go back to basics. When you're on, when you're in a bull market and everything is going to the moon, then you can have those risky plays. You can buy that first appearance of Bagman or Frogman or whatever, and you can stack those books, and then you can flip, 15 of them onto the market and make 10x on every single sale that you do. Like that is totally, something that you can benefit from. Like you can make big plays on those sort of risky spec books in those markets. But now that we're in this bear market, you can't make those same big plays. You're not going to get that flip. So the only way you can sort of guarantee that is to make sure that you are putting money into books that have true scarcity, that have true intrinsic value, that have true, historical significance that is always going to connect to pop culture in some kind of way. If you're somebody out there who is about to drop, I don't know what it's going to finish at, but let's say you're about to drop 7K on the Eminem Amazing Spider-Man Spotlight 9.9, I mean, you might do okay. You might do okay because, for all we know, there's only one on the census right now. And all you need is one buyer. No one is really going to undercut you. But for all those other books out there that are on the market, and you're dropping these, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on these types of books, I mean, and you want to make those returns, like, wouldn't you just want to take that money and put it into a golden age book that is sort of guaranteed to have a low print run? That like the chances that anything else comes onto market is so small overall. Like it is so rare that someone is going to be able to kind of paper-handed undercut your book and drop the effective value in it. Versus with this, ASM Eminem book, you never know. People are still sending books into CGC. People are still getting them graded. We might get a 10.0 Spotlight variant to come on the market. And what would that do for the luster of the 9.9? But I keep talking about the ASM Spider-Man Eminem book here, and you guys kind of know this one by now, but I kind of want to show you guys some of the things that are going on. Check back in on the market. Of course, this has been a hot book out there. We've talked about this many times. And one of the things I wanted to show you was at least the recent recorded sales, the current recorded sales for this book. on the market. And let's just kind of focus in at the 9.8s right here. So you guys know the GPA has this listed as the hustle edition. That is how it is effectively calculated on GPA. And let's just kind of look at the sales. And one of the things that I really want to point out to you guys is let's take a look and focus on what is the first sale that always comes to market with all the books I'm about to show you. So Hustle Edition, which is the Eminem one, the regular cover, has had 6 sales so far on the market. First coming out in December 23rd. The first time we actually saw this book go for a sale here recorded was $2,500 at the 9.8 grade. That was on December 23rd. Then 3 days later, you have a sale go for $1,725. What do you see after that? A few days later on the 31st, you see another one at $1,750. And then shortly after that, on the same day, you see another one at $1,350. So what do we see right here is that the first to market sale was actually $1,000 more than where the book would finish at just a week later. And one of the reasons, to kind of bring that point of emphasis is that, when you're first to market, you're going to be able to get that sale because the demand is going to be there and no one is going to be able to compete with you for that, say, listing on eBay or whatever the case may be. Now, we've had a couple sales here in January, and we did recently get one at $1,725, which is kind of mirrors some of the other ones, but we also got one at $1,500 right here. The point I'm trying to make with this is that the first sale that comes to market is going to be the most expensive because you get the flood of inventory that follows shortly thereafter. And that's always going to be one of the risks. And not only that, that first sale is going to incentivize anyone else who has that book to want to sell. If you are somebody who bought the ASM Eminem book and you had the full intention to just hold on to the book, right? You just, I like Eminem. I want to buy this. I just want to have the book. And then all of a sudden, your $30 copy, you see sells for $2,500 in a CGC 9.8. I mean, how could you not be incentivized to sell at that time? And you will go send your book to CGC, you will slab that thing, and you will also sell it because the gains are too much. And so that's one of the problems with, what happens immediately on these big sales. Thinking of you, West Coast Avengers number 45, is that everyone is then incentivized to sell shortly or thereafter. And that's why you got to be careful. You got to be risk off in 2023 here because nobody knows where this market is going. And you don't know what the supply is. You don't know what the census is going to turn out to be. And there's just a ton of risk, a ton of risk with that. Whereas if you had that $2,500, imagine the type of golden age books you could buy, or even a silver age, blue chip, if you found one at a really good deal. You have to think about these things, especially in this current market. Now, the interesting one here is this Amazing Spider-Man Eminem Spotlight variant, the black and white one. This one actually got graded a 9.9 by CGC. I mean, a 9.9 by CGC with the Spider-Man label. I mean, what is this? I think that they're straight trolling. They're straight trolling that they gave one of these books a 9.9. It doesn't make sense to me why there wouldn't be a 9.9 for every single new comic book that is printed every single week. What are the chances? What are the chances of that? I mean, I don't really know, but you can see current bids, 5,244 bids out there. Who knows what this book is going to finish at? But can you imagine? I mean, the type of money, who knows, right? This book could absolutely go to the moon. We don't really know. I can't really make that determination. But again, it's just one of those things that it is so risky in this current environment. If we take a look at something like the Black Panther 1 in 25 variant, Tosin Aduye, let's just look at that book right here. We can see a lot of sales that the first sale that came to market on March was $1,400. Then it went to 13, then it went to 10, 11, 11, 11, 9, 9. Now it's a 3-figure book. And if you go down to kind of where we are, last handful of sales, you're seeing this book sell for 900, 500, 600, 700, 600, 700. So it dropped down by almost more than half. I mean, actually more than half, generally speaking, because of the fact that once the books start to settle, once the supply hits the market, all of a sudden that creates the true value of the book. Because you have to get to a point where there's going to be those holders. And that's ultimately what makes it really, really risky overall, is that there's going to be people who are incentivized to sell that want to undercut, your copy that you actually own. So again, heading into 2023, it's going to be, it needs to be a risk-off environment. That is going to be the only way that you can kind of not get burnt. You know, we've been talking about the Silver Age Index videos and the Bronze Age Index. I am currently working on the Copper and Modern one, and it's really interesting to see those numbers. And my thought is, in general, as we move into this year and comic books continue to kind of need to tread these sort of murky waters, you know, whether it's the secondary market or even the new comic book market. As collectors, it's really important. It's really important that we be cautious and calculated with the purchases that we make. I mean, if you want the book, you want the book. Do whatever you want with your money. But just know to not get caught up in that FOMO, because the risk is the thing that will actually burn you. And you really need to evaluate the downside risk. Downside risk is going to be the best way for you to feel good about the purchases that you're making. Anyways, that's all for this video. That's all I got. Buy good books like Darkhawk's right here. These books will never go to zero because Darkhawk is the greatest character that ever lived. Anyways, that's all I got. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content. I'll see you in the next video.